God bless. I want to give honor to God who is the head over my life. Okay, so um I got another scripture from the Lord that He wants me to bring forth. So I'm reading from Jeremiah chapter 1, verses 1 through 4, no, 1 through 14. My subject is the call of Jeremiah's first vision. The word of Jeremiah's son, Aquila, one of the priests of Enthada in the territory of Benjamin. The word of the Lord came to him in the 13th year of the region of Josiah, son of Ammon, king of Judah, and through the region of Joachim, son of Josiah, king of Judah, down to the 5th month of the 11th year of Zekiah, son of Josiah, king of Judah, when the people of Jerusalem went into exile. The word of the Lord came to me, saying, Before I formed you in your mother's womb, I knew you before you were born. I set you apart, and I appointed you as a prophet to nations. So the Lord is saying this to Jeremiah. Before I formed you in your mother's womb, I knew you before you were born. I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to nations. Okay? So the Lord was telling Jeremiah, this didn't just happen yesterday. Before you were in your mother's womb, I appointed you. And this is how you know that you are chosen, because before you were in your mother's womb, God chose you to do his work. Okay. So it's not like, okay, the Lord just said, okay, hey, I'm gonna appoint you. No, before you were in your mother's womb, you were already chosen by God to do his work at a set time. Okay. So again, before I formed you in your mother's womb, I knew you before you were born. I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to nations. Okay. Alice, sovereign Lord, I said, I do not know how to speak. I am too young. And the Lord said to me, Do not say I am too young. You must go to everyone I send you to and say whatever I command you. Do not be afraid of them, for I am with you, and I will rescue you, declares the Lord. Then the Lord reached out to his hand and touched my mouth and said to me, I have put my words in your mouth. See, today I appoint you over nations and kingdoms, to uproot and tear down, to destroy and overthrow, to build and to plant. The word of the Lord came to me. What do you see, Jeremiah? I see the branch of an almond tree. I replied. The Lord said to me, You have seen correctly, for I am watching to see that my word is fulfilled. Okay, so Jeremiah had a job to do. He was a prophet. He was one of the most powerful prophets, I believe. But he had a job to do, and he wasn't going to stop until it was done. Because anytime the Lord sends you to or calls you to do a work for him, you have to do it, or there's a price over your head, whether it means financially or whether it means, by other means. Whenever the Lord calls you to do something, you have to do. Okay? So Jeremiah knew he had some work that he had to do. So he knew he had to study. He knew he had to be closer to God. He knew he had to eat the right food so that he could hear what God was trying to tell him to do in order to save God's people. Okay? So, and Jeremiah knew that this was not a game. He was not playing. He was here to get work done. He was here to put in the work in order to region for the Lord, to get God's people back to where they were, okay, and out of Satan's hands. All right. So and it says 13, the word of the Lord came to me again. What do you see? I see a pot that is boiling. I answered, it is tilting towards us from the north. The Lord said to me, from the north, disasters will be poured out on all who live in the land. I am about to summons all the people of the northern kingdom, declare the Lord. The king will come and set up their thrones in the entrance of the gate of Jerusalem. They will come against all her surrounding walls and against all the towns of Judah. So, the Lord was telling Jeremiah that because the work of what Jeremiah was doing, it was going to be pagan idols that were going to come against this wall, because the pagan idols did not like what Jeremiah was saying. Okay. And let's go further on. It says, God appointed Jeremiah to bring the word to nations and kingdoms. Jeremiah's work was to warn not only the people of Judah, but all nations of the world about God's judgment for sin. Do not forget in the reading the Old Testament that while God was constantly working through the people of Judah, Israel, and his plan was to communicate with every nation in person, we are to communicate with every nation. Okay. The vision of the almond branch reveals that the beginning of God's judgment will come soon. This is because the almond tree is among the first blossom in the spring. God saw the sins of Judah and the nation, and he would carry out swift and certain judgment. The boiling cease pot tripping over from the north and spilling over on Judah's pictured Babylon delivering God's scalding judgment against Jeremiah's people. Okay, so basically there was judgment. Okay, the boil and pod represent the north spilling over Judah's pictures, Babylon delivering God's scalding judgment. Okay, against Jeremiah's people. Okay, the problem we face may not seem like it's, we face problems all the time, okay? But when we begin to lean and trust in Jesus and stop trusting in these idols that are trying to take from God's people, okay? They are only here and they are only sent to destroy. It's like I look at people and I can see through them, okay? I can go on a YouTube page and I can see people that say they got chosen on their name. They're not chosen, okay? So like I said, you have to look at people's spirits, okay? If that is not the right spirit and they have chosen the chosen elect or the chosen this or the chosen that, I can look at them and I can tell you they're not chosen. They are pagans. See, the Lord gave me eyes to see. One of my gifts is an empath. Okay, so I can see right through people. I can see if they're chosen and what they're not. I can tell you if a person is chosen, even if they do not know that they are chosen. I can tell you this. Okay, I'm clairvoyant. I'm an empath. I get visions. And I can remove bad energy to good energy, negative energy to good energy. These are my gifts, okay? This is how I know the real from the fake. And this is how I know that there is a region of pagans that are trying to take over the temple of God. All right? Even the most agonizing problems face each other each day with the assurance that God will be with you and see you through. Okay? So now basically I'm here to rebuild God's temple. Some of these pagans are frustrated, angry, mad, and some of these pagans, they don't know what's going on, because when they hear that soon their kingdom about to fall, they're panicking. All right? But like I said before, usually people in government, like a government official, they set things right. They remove things that They remove things that do not belong, and that's their job. And it takes a lot of studying, it takes a lot of working, and it takes a lot of getting God's people back in line with these pagans that are trying to control God's people. So, like I said before, I'm cleaning house. It's going to be a lot of pagans that are upset by my message, but my message is to clean house, and that's exactly what I tend to do. God bless.